Welcome to The Political Scene. I'm your host, Brandy Pagano.
I'm Todd Michael Jackson, author of God is Greater Than Religion, Moving from Faith into Knowing and Understanding, and creator of Augmented Teachings.
I'm Caitlin Jones. I'm an elected delegate of Assembly District 39, and I'm really happy to be here.
Yay! We're so happy that you guys are here in the studio today. And the topic of our episode today is white Christian nationalism and redistricting California. As we know, knowledge is power, so let's unpack this together. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the show, both of you guys. I'm really excited to unpack our topics today. So how are you doing today, Todd?
Very good. So I'm very excited about this topic. White Christian nationalism. So in this episode, I really want to explain who they are and who they think they are. All right. And break that down in a way that everybody can understand. So I've been a near-death experience researcher for over 12 years. That's why I wrote the book. And I can explain things in a new perspective that makes more sense in this understanding that our society has now. The Bible was good for that paradigm, that society that was mostly illiterate. Now we have to have information that aligns with the knowledge that we have now. So I want to explain what our soul is, because we are our soul. We are not our vessel. We are our soul. Every soul was created for one purpose, to be a companion for God. That is our job. The problem is when we're made, we have nothing to give back. Imagine a 2-year-old having a conversation with somebody in their 50s. They're not going to be able to hold up their end of the conversation. So we are created to create experiences, to bring back wisdom and knowledge and experiences. God is a creator. We are the experiencer, so that we can bring back a companion that is worthy of God's attention. So when our souls are made, they are made out of love and are surrounded by God's love, God's energy. We are altruistic, not socialist, not communist, altruistic. We put the needs of others ahead of our own. But our job is to create experiences so that we can be a good companion. And that's why this 3D reality was created, so that we can be separated from source and have our own experiences without being in this envelope, this surrounding loving energy, so that we can create on our own. And these experiences that we have here in this 3D reality don't exist on that side of the veil, on the other side of the veil, where we feel source at all times. So is there pizza in heaven? No, there's no pizza in heaven, but you're bringing the experience of pizza to heaven. That's the whole point. There's one big drawback though. When a soul first comes to this 3D reality, it has no tools to overcome fear and ego that are within the vessel. That's what we call a young soul. The young soul doesn't have these tools. The more times a soul is here, the more experiences it has, the more tools it has to overcome fear and judgment and punishment and ego and greed, all the derivatives of fear. And that's where we find our white Christian nationalists. They think that they're white, their souls are white, and they're Christian, and they only are in the United States. It doesn't work that way. We will go all over this classroom called Earth. We will go and have different experiences from all different ethnicities and different societies and different religions. And when you actually look at the scope of things and you pull back, you realize that God created the whole universe, and God wants to experience as much of it as possible. You're not going to stay just in this classroom either. Our souls are here to wander from classroom to classroom. So when a person says, I'm a white Christian nationalist, you're not white. That's laughable. You're going to move from ethnicity to ethnicity. You're going to move from different classroom to classroom. I'm Christian. No, you're not. You're not Christian either. You're just this momentarily. You're just this momentarily. And a soul will go where it's overly scrutinized in the past, so it can learn through firsthand knowledge of the suffering and pain that it had previously dismissed. So what that means is, if you're racist against Mexicans guess where your soul will choose to go? Now remember, when you're on this side of the veil, you have no ego and you have no fear. So guess where your soul's going to go so we can learn compassion and humility and humbleness towards the Mexican people. It will go to south of the border and be born. A lot of people that are being mistreated now had been born in the United States previously. Their soul had been previously born in the United States. And now they're on the other side of the veil, feeling the ramifications of their previous actions. Their hatred towards anybody that was Latin is now being played out for them. And you're like, well, they have it coming. Maybe so. But now you're acting out on this. You're acting out on this transgression towards a people of a darker nature of skin. And now your chance to be over there will be next. And that's why we see older souls that will fight for the human and not for the laws of fear and division. There are laws that man has made that are for protecting humans. And when you protect a human, you protect the soul. You protect soul, you protect God. So there's laws against assault, whether it be physical or sexual in nature. And you see old souls support those because they're protecting the human. Then you have laws that based on fear and division. Those are not protecting the human. They're actually hurting the human. And when it comes right down to it, the older souls will protect the human, and the younger souls will say, no, a law is a law, and they'll protect the law that hurts the human, not realizing that God feels us at all times. As we have our experiences, God feels us all the time. So as these people are being hurt systematically, families being torn apart, God is feeling it at all times. The old soul knows it innately. Doesn't know it directly. Maybe now after this video they do. They know it innately. And the younger soul has not had the experiences to feel this yet because they still wallow in fear, judgment, and punishment.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for breaking that down, Todd. And it goes to show that the age of soul, really is what determines people's actions.
Yeah.
Hi, Caitlin. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you, Brandy. Todd makes a really good point, though, in that when, you claim to be one thing now, whether you claim to be that right now for your moment or not, I think people forget not only are your soul is not your shell, but also you could be a different person tomorrow. So to be so 10 toes down on something that's rooted in fear and hatred is so wild and so not in alignment with the Bible that they try to push down everybody else's throat. And I have verses tattooed on me as well. I understand the Bible, and I understand that it was not written to be the tool of hatred and fear that it's being pushed as and used as today. Right. Hopefully, as people mature, God willing, they understand that the Bible is, even though it has, hardships and strife, it's a love letter, and it can be used towards something for good. Right. And if it wasn't, then how did we have, in the 70s and 80s, total hippies that only use the Bible to help them and guide them through their journey of hippieism. So I think, if we really want to tap in with source and with spirit, we have to start with ourselves and getting right with ourselves and our higher self before we can even try to tell anybody else or vote a certain way for anybody else to live a life that we can't even live up to ourselves.
Right. And that's one of the things people have to realize is that younger souls are going to have fear, judgment, punishment as their mentality. They're not going to look for solutions. They look for blame. And they're going to try to find scriptures here and there and piece them together to validate their own hatred. Yep. If you use the Bible as a vehicle for division, you're not doing God's work. If you use the Bible to develop your soul, which is what we're here for, we keep coming back until our souls learn unconditional love. Jesus came here and showed us how to develop our souls. And many white Christian nationalists are not paying attention to that. They're paying attention to self-righteousness rather than soul development and developing themselves. You're not here to develop anybody else. You're here to develop yourself. And that's why in the 10 Commandments, what's the very first commandment? Don't put any images before me. Don't put anything above God. When you put a gun above God, you lost. When you put a flag above God, you lost. When you put a cross above God, you lost. Young souls always want to put the images in front of what God is, and God is love itself. When you go back home, there are no crosses. There are no flags. There are no guns. It's love. Did you spend your life seeking love or seeking self-righteousness and seeking graven images? That's the real problem that we're having right now, is these people think these graven images are what is important. No, you lost. If you choose any of these things, there's a guy that wears a shirt and has, a gun and a flag and a Bible that says of God. You are not of God. You are not. 0%. You are of graven images, because all these things are created by man, and all these things don't exist on the other side of the veil. So just know that. And knowing's half the battle.
Yeah. You brought up a great point that reminded me of a quote I heard. If God is love, then politics built on division misses the mark.
Yes, exactly.
And when you said that, it was like a light bulb was like, ding, remember this?
Remember this.
And I think just to kind of bring it back to your other point when you mentioned people that are self-righteous, what we see today is people using the Bible and forcing what the Bible says to fit their own POV, their own perspective, their own values.
Right.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have forgotten the Bible. You're supposed to read it and be like, oh, I'm not meeting that standard. I need to check myself.
Right.
Not this is what I believe. So the Bible better back up what I'm saying, because no, that's not how it works.
Right.
You need to take inventory and really understand what you're supposed to do here. I don't think any of us were born. And likewise, I don't think any of our moms, when they were pregnant with us, were like, oh, I can't wait till this is a hatred adult one day. Like, no one does that.
No.
Nobody sets out to do that.
I hope not.
Right.
I hope not.
Right. And people have to realize God isn't as dysfunctional as they are. Right. I have a lot of people that live in fear and judgment of others, and they think God is just like them. They can't see outside that. And when they get home, God's going to have judgment and hatred towards them. It's like, no. When we come here to this 3D reality, it's a labor of love, and it's going to last as long as it lasts until we learn unconditional love. People are like, well, I'm not coming back. It's fine. You can give your soul back to God while it still wallows in fear and judgment and ego. You can, but you won't, because God deserves better than that. And you'll come back and you'll fix it. You'll fix your issues so that you can present your soul back to God while it has more facets of beauty. And another point I want to make out before we finish this subject is that when you go back home, all these people that you, white Christian nationalists, are passing judgment on, LGBTQ, a soul that has changed gender, the liberals who are your mentors on the other side of the veil, the people south of the border who you will be someday and maybe was your grandfather now. That soul is now there dealing with this. All these people you are passing judgment on, your soul knows them, and your soul loves them, and their soul loves you too. You just forgot. Older souls have forgotten less. Younger souls forgot it all. And when you go back home, you're like, oh man, I really hated this person or that person. You realize, oh my God, I knew them. I knew them and I loved them, and they loved me too. And that's the whole trick, is getting past the anger within the vessel and tapping into your soul, which is based in love and compassion and altruism, not socialism, altruism, putting the needs of others ahead of your own.
Thank you so much, Todd, for redirecting it in that way, because as a metaphysical practitioner, that is something that I have been focused on in my practice, is recognizing that we are all one. And I know that we all come from the same source and we all return to the same source. Yes, so when I'm personally working on maybe say forgiveness for myself or others, I go to that higher spiritual standpoint, in my mindset that what I do to myself, I'm doing to others. What I do to others, I'm doing to myself. Same thing about my perceptions, because sometimes I can, think, oh, well, this happened to me, so I must be a victim. But on the other side of the veil, I was playing a part, they were playing a part. So I do recognize that each side of the aisle, each side of everything, we're all playing our part. And sometimes it's challenging to see the other side as the same as us. Right. Because how can we, when their ideas can be so different from ours? Right. Maybe the way that they vote, maybe the things that they accept and allow for themselves and for humanity, those things can't be okay in my eyes. So how could I really remember that I'm one with these same people? If I am an altruistic soul and I know that I come from source, how can I see that they can too?
Right. And really it boils down to one thing. When you give the why, when you give the understanding of why we do what we do, then that seed has a little bit more soil to grow with. So, people in my car all the time will say, so you do believe in reincarnation? And I'm like, yes. I said, do you have a reason why we don't? And they're like, well, because it sucks here. I'm like, okay. I'll explain to you why we do. We do because A, we develop our souls towards unconditional love. You can give your soul back to God, but you want to make sure that it is a pristine soul of love and compassion, acceptance, of the vibration of Jesus, not of Fox News, of Jesus, right? And how many movies do you have in your collection of movies at home? Do you have just one movie? No, I have hundreds. Exactly. We come here to have experiences in this classroom, as many as we can. And one lifetime doesn't cut it. So we want to create as many experiences to take back home for ourselves and to share with the people that we care about. And eventually every experience goes back to source.
And the thing that you just said, the people that we care about.
Right.
So the message here that I would like to share is that, what we're doing, how we're voting, how we're living, and how we're showing up in the world, that affects people that other people care about.
Right.
Just because you don't care about them doesn't mean that they are not cared for.
Right.
And everybody has a right to be here. Everybody has a right to be a human. Right. Everybody has a right to be on this planet, to learn, to grow, to develop, to love, to exist.
Right.
And do you have anything else that you would like to share about this topic? Because this is something that, white Christian nationalism, there's a lot of people that don't really understand it. There's some people that are just blind to it.
I think, I could talk hours and hours about this, but right now it's different than anything we've seen before. It's something that they have been preparing for, that we knew was going to come in the way that it's arriving and the disposition that they're putting out there. But as far as the current state of white Christian nationalism, it's gone so far that even people who I thought were, pretty radical have said, yeah, this has gone too far.
Yeah.
I don't know what else is going to come of it. I hope, in my heart of hearts, like, we can put a full stop to this and we can get back to some normalcy and maybe to a revolution of some sort. So that way we have better systems in place for the people that you were just mentioning. But as far as making sure that we have our checks and balances in place, I don't know if the ones that were there before to protect us are going to still be there even by end of year. So we have to really make sure that we keep everyone that we care about in mind. Even if a certain law or policy does not affect you, I can guarantee it affects someone you know or someone they know.
Right.
Exactly.
And vote while you can. Vote away all the fear mongering. Vote away all of the hatred, because it's really all we really can do right now.
Right. And it comes down to knowledge. And I just have one sentence, and really it boils down to this: my soul is of God. My soul is not of an ethnicity. It's not of a religion. And it's definitely not of a country. It is of God. It's created by God to serve God's love, not to serve anything else. So that's my job, to learn love and to bring back experiences of love. Those are the best ones.
Yeah.
And really, when we can remember that all humans are, we're children of God, we're children of source, and we're all in this together. And it should really be people first.
First.
Speaking of that, there's some other things that are happening here in the state that we live in. And
Speaking
there's
of
some
people first.
redistricting happening in California. And, let's break that down.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you said it really well. People first, always. That's really the ethos of what the governor is putting forth with the rest of the legislative leg in California. So, as we talked about last week, Texas has pretty much said, hey, here's our new maps that we are wanting to put in play. And California said two could play that game. And all of our elected Democratic leaders have band together, whether you're from LA or a rural area. We all have the same mission right now, and that is to save democracy and to save America, to save the soul of America. Right now, we have a lot at stake. I know everybody has always said this is the most important election of your life, but Californians, I'm being serious. This is the most important election. October 6th, the mail-in ballots will come. By the 7th, they will be mailed out. Everyone, please vote by November 4th. The way that the redistricting is going to impact us, and for those of us in the high desert, so our area becomes even more rural and even more Republican. However, the caveat is that with that being, more red, all the other districts become more blue.
Right.
So that's how we would be able to sweep the House and take the seats back that Texas is trying to take in the House. They would gain 5 seats, and we would pretty much sweep those 5 seats right back and maintain order, maintain balance. The ballot is Proposition 50 for those unaware. It was actually just announced yesterday, so I don't expect everyone to have a lot of wide knowledge about this, but that's what I'm here for. So Proposition 50 is essentially saying, hey, if Texas or any other Republican-led state triggers new gerrymandering maps and they want to redistrict their state, then we will automatically have these new districts at play. And no matter however many seats you try to sweep, we will sweep them right back. So it's not that we automatically redistrict. It's that if this vote passes, we kind of have it, like the ball will be in our court. If any other red state wants to do it first, we could just do it right back. So it's not that we're automatically redistricting. It's that it's a reaction, right? So if they do it first, we'll do it back. It's the same thing. We don't want to rig elections. We don't want to make sure anybody has lack of representation on a federal level. In fact, quite the opposite. But we're not going to allow this regime of fascism and authoritarianism to take away the life and the liberty and the rights that we currently have right now. I'm glad. I'm so proud of our state. I'm glad to be a Californian. I'm always, rooting for us. And I know that if California is not doing it, nobody will. So if it takes for us to be on the front lines every single time, so be it. Like I told some of our coalition members the other day, I said, it's time to put the country on our back and save the soul of America. Biden had said it best. That's what we were fighting for in 2020, and that's what we're fighting for again today.
Right. And it's funny how the blue is always playing fair. We're not going to do it unless you do it first. We're not going to try to rig the election. It's a stopgap. So if they go, then this goes. If they don't go, then we won't go. You know what I'm saying? It's the right always trying to get something, and the left saying, wait a second, you're not playing fair. Almost like having to play referee to the red states. And it sucks. And just know that, I always look at it this way. The right is no longer aligned. I remember the right used to be aligned with people that didn't want to hurt other people. They were proud of the amount of humanitarian aid we gave to other countries. Now they're like, I should be born in that country so I can get their aid for free. I'm like, man, you don't even know what you're talking about. It's changed. And it's not based on the teachings of Jesus. It's based on the teachings of right-wing media, which are all in alignment with fear, judgment, and punishment. And the young souls are hook, line, and sinker. They just fall for it every single time because that's what young souls do. And the old souls are appalled by it. And they're like, how come you don't like this? This is great. It's putting blame. Because old souls don't want blame. They want to find solutions that serve both sides. Young souls want blame. And that's all it is. It's just blame media, and they're victims of everywhere. But actually they're the ones that are forcing the hand of other people to stand up, say, no, you cannot do this, not on my watch.
Thank goodness for the old souls, right?
I know.
Those are the true checks and balances of the other side. Right.
And hopefully this show, hopefully this show will make it to where California doesn't have to fight so hard next time, because there's enough people that are in the middle that are like, you know what, you're right. It's not about fear, judgment, punishment. It's about love, compassion, and acceptance. You do those 3 things and you go back home. Oh, you know what? Past life review was pretty good. You do the first 3 things, your past life review sucks, and you don't just see your past life review, you feel it, because your soul, when I look at you, I can't feel your souls, right? But on the other side of the veil, We're all connected. God feels us at all times. So when it's played back, I can feel what you guys are feeling right now. And when you go back home, I want to talk next show. I want to bring it up right now. I want to talk about ICE. I want to talk about ICE and what they're going to feel when they return back home.
Okay.
It's going to be devastating for them. They don't realize it. There's a difference between protect and serve and hunt and harm. There's a big difference.
Yeah. And it's essentially, we'll save it more for the next show, but it's essentially a version of selling your soul, because the more people that they can capture and detain, the higher their bonus is. So you're literally doing it for money.
Yes.
You're harming people for money.
The Judases of our society.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Everything is energy, and energy can never be destroyed. And so we carry that energy on with us in every incarnation. We carry it on this side of the veil and on the other side. And so, knowledge is power. Do what you can to empower yourselves. Open your minds, open your heart, connect to each other. And really, like Caitlin was saying, it all starts within, because we cannot connect with anybody out there unless we really know who we are and we are connected with ourselves. So before we wrap it up, is there any final thoughts from either one of you today?
No, you know what? Just keep a stiff upper lip. Really work at developing yourself and educating those that need help towards love. Really, when you help them understand passively, teach them how to love other people. Give them examples of where maybe that hatred that they saw on right-wing media doesn't play out that way, and they can pull back a little bit and maybe see your side a little bit more.
Yeah.
Be that love, right? Be that change. Be that love.
Yes.
And yeah.
Be the reflection of the higher self that you would want to see.
Right.
Absolutely.
Always.
Otherwise, we will never attain that.
Yes.
So thank you guys so much.
Thank
and
you.
Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you next time.
Guys.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.